Incredible $5 act of kindness by little girl exposed a surprising limousine surprise. Lily clutched the crumpled $5 bill in her small hand, her heart racing as she approached Mr. Jenkins, the familiar figure bent over on the park bench. He looked frail today, shadows beneath his eyes that had once sparkled with stories. "You're going to love this sandwich, Mr. Jenkins," she chirped, her voice bright against the dull backdrop of her fading birthday cheer. Inside, however, unease gnawed at her like a persistent itch. Was this enough? Would it make a difference? Her parents had told her stories of compassion, but lately, those ideals seemed distant, overshadowed by whispered conversations about bills, unemployment, and a tightening grip of worry that sank deeper with each day. She wasn't sure what was worse, their struggle or the feeling that she had to shoulder her own worries about them in her little 8-year-old heart. "But you can't let go of kindness," they often reminded her, "not even when you're living through hard times." As she watched Mr. Jenkins raise his eyes to meet hers, surprise danced alongside an unexpected flicker of sadness. The tears that glistened on his cheeks twisted something tight in Lily's chest. Her mind raced. What if he hates it? What if he thinks I'm just some kid playing at kindness? I wanted to help, but how could $5 offer anything more than a fleeting smile on a lonely face? In that moment, the weight of expectations gripped her, of her constant longing to lift someone's spirits while grappling with the sinking realization that her own world felt weathered. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Do you remember the vintage limousines? He asked after taking a bite, his voice quivering with unmasked emotion. I used to own a company, it was everything to me. His confession tumbled out like pieces of a puzzle Lily never knew she needed to see. She felt her heart thud. But it couldn't hold up, he continued, each word laced with poignant nostalgia, not when money became a trap, sucking the air out of dreams. As she listened, insecurities bubbled within her. A friendship with Mr. Jenkins raised questions. Kids at school would laugh at her for hanging out with the old man. Would they think she was sad, giving sandwiches to a relic of the past? And even if she dared to prevail over their mockery, the fear of abandonment loomed like a cloud. Would Mr. Jenkins find all this too much? A naive girl caught in the crosshairs of harsh realities and heartfelt aspirations. The tightness in her chest radiated into a tempest, a swirling conflict between wanting acceptance and fighting for someone she believed in. If they joined forces to reignite the limousine legacy, what would that mean for them both? And if this fragile bond with the man who poured stories into her world crashed amid the swirling judgments, what would be left? In that moment, as the truth weighed heavily upon her, the question lingered. Could the fierce light of friendship withstand the ominous clouds hovering between societal views and their authentic connection? As Lily stared into Mr. Jenkins' weathered face, she could almost predict the tide of challenges ahead. Unbeknownst to her, the next chapter awaited with an impending shock that would challenge their trust and everything they dared to build together. Lily took a deep breath, her pulse quickening with the weight of Mr. Jenkins' words. She wanted to say something to make him feel encouraged, to articulate the blend of admiration and fear swirling within her. Can you teach me how to drive a limousine someday? It slipped out before she could overthink it, her innocence breaking the tension like a fragile glass. Mr. Jenkins chuckled softly, shaking his head. You might be better off with knowing how a strong heart drives a person to dream. The sincerity in his gaze punctured through her earlier doubts. Still, the edges of insecurity lingered. But driving is more than just being behind the wheel, he continued, it's about steering a path through life's winding roads. She didn't truly understand what he meant yet, but something resonated within her, beckoning her to explore that metaphor further. As if sensing an opportunity, Mr. Jenkins leaned closer, his voice low and conspiratorial. "You know, Lily, I still have the keys to one of the old limousines. If we work hard, we could get it up and running again." "Really?" The spark of hope ignited in her chest. It felt like a promise wrapped in possibility. Yet doubt quickly encroached. But what if we fail? What if it doesn't turn out as we want? "Those worries are a part of any adventure," he replied gently. "But it's not about whether we succeed or fail, it's about trying together, creating something from what we have, no matter how little." Her mind raced with excitement, but she was caught in the push and pull of uncertainty. What if her friends laughed? What if her parents thought it was too much for someone her age? Still, a glimpse of possibility flickered in her mind, the thought of doing something incredible, of embracing the challenge rather than shying away from it. The notion gripped her, an anchor pulling against the current of her doubts. "Can you teach me?" she asked, the determination creeping into her voice. She needed to know, to unravel the complexities of her hesitant spirit. Mr. Jenkins smiled, all his previous sadness melting into warmth. "Absolutely, Lily. But you have to promise me one thing." "What?" she asked, intrigued. "Don't let other people's opinions steer your path. You'll face judgments, but never let them drown out your passion. The world needs bold dreamers like you." A rush of lightness washed over her. It was as if he had unshackled something dormant within her, yearning to chase her dreams. There, nestled in the banter of their exchange, was a revelation. This friendship was more than a comfort, it was a launchpad for her future. Yet even as they laughed and plotted, those lingering insecurities remained. If she reached too far, how could she ensure she wouldn't fall? The journey began to shape into something grander, a bridge she desperately wanted to cross with Mr. Jenkins at her side. "What if we start tomorrow?" she proposed, her heart racing at the thought of commitment. "Tomorrow it is," he affirmed. "But prepare yourself, we'll be stepping into a world where comfort may be the first thing we let go of." Lily nodded, both excited and frightened. Tomorrow marked a new terrain, where friendship, ambition, and fear would collide. As she left the park, she couldn't shake the weight of anticipation mixed with trepidation. What awaited her on this path? The answers lay just beyond tomorrow, unfolding with every brave step they would take together. With thoughts spinning around a future she could hardly predict, one question gnawed at her mind: would she find the strength to welcome the challenges ahead, or would doubt whisper in her ear, steering her away from everything she aspired to become? As dawn broke, the sunlight bathed Lily's room in a golden hue, illuminating the intricate patterns on her desk where sketches of limousines and notes danced together, reflecting her newfound resolve. Today was the day she would take her first step into a world that felt both thrilling and daunting. The prospect of working alongside Mr. Jenkins fueled her, yet the weight of uncertainty still gripped her heart. She dressed with intent, selecting her favorite denim jacket, a reminder of her childhood filled with adventures, unafraid of bending to the trials of growing up. With each tug of the zipper, she could almost hear the echoing encouragement from Mr. Jenkins reminding her to trust in her passion. Arriving at the old garage, she felt an electric buzz in the air, contrasted by the stillness of the forgotten vehicle sitting under a shroud of dust. Mr. Jenkins was already there, examining the limousine like it was an artifact from a bygone era. "Good morning, dreamer," he greeted her with a grin that was softened by the shadows of fatigue and innate vulnerability hidden behind his inviting demeanor. "Good morning," she replied, her voice laced with eagerness. "Are you ready to roll?" he asked, raising a brow, and for a moment, Lily felt the gravity of her own wavering confidence. What if she was only fooling herself? "Yeah, I think so," she fumbled, realizing the tremor in her voice reflected her inner chaos. "Let's start by getting our hands dirty. This beauty needs more than a simple wash." He nodded to the limousine, still shrouded in shadows, as if it was waiting for a kindred spirit to awaken it. As they began their work, a few hours passed in tandem with laughter. Mr. Jenkins demonstrated how to assemble parts, share tools, and problem-solve the various issues plaguing the limo. Each moment spent together felt liberating, unveiling layers of her creative thinking. The struggle to replace one particularly stubborn bolt ignited a fire within her, forcing her to confront her inclination towards self-doubt. "What if I just can't do this?" Lily admitted, biting her lip in frustration. "Remember, every mechanic has had their moments of doubt," he said, working in tandem with her on the rather relentless screw. "It's part of the growth process. Don't see setbacks as failures, but as learning opportunities." His words sliced through her insecurities, revealing an inner resolve she hadn't known existed. They shifted gears, tackling the brakes next, and as Lily fiddled with the wires, she found a rhythm, a dance wherein her hands became an extension of her mind's creativity. With each turn of the tool, she was no longer just an apprentice but an active collaborator in the awakening of the machine. Minutes felt like hours, and with every step forward, a consolidation of purpose began to anchor her spirit. The fear of failing diminished as she learned to welcome the uncertainty lurking beneath each challenge. Just as they were about to wrap up for the day, a group of teenagers passed by outside the garage, snickering. One of them called out, "What are you doing? Playing with broken cars?" The laughter sent a jolt through her, igniting a familiar wave of embarrassment. "Don't let them distract you," Mr. Jenkins advised, sparking an internal clash within Lily. The shadow of their derision loomed over her ambitions. Should she defend her passion, or shatter it against the expectations of her peers? In that moment, everything crystallized: the laughter they shared, the depths of her courage, the fabric of dreams she was slowly weaving. It was not just about the limousine anymore. It was her personal journey. The ability to stand firm against those who dismissed her pursuits became a defining moment. "I'm building something," she responded, her voice woven with newfound conviction. "And I won't stop, no matter what you think." As the taunts faded into the distance, she felt lighter, more equipped for the road ahead. Today had become a pivotal moment, one that illuminated her path towards courage, collaboration, and self-acceptance. Yet as her confidence surged, a flicker of anxiety remained. Would the challenges escalate from here? Would the project continue to test her resolve? With the echo of the day's achievement still ringing in her ears, Lily couldn't help but wonder how much higher the stakes could rise. Little did she know, the next challenge was just around the corner, something that would push her far beyond the workshop and into the realms of personal integrity and ambition. The next morning, the sunlight streamed through the garage's grimy windows, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. Lily arrived early, determination coursing through her veins like an engine revving to life. She was no longer just a dreamer, she was a creator, poised to carve something meaningful from the raw materials laid out in front of her. Mr. Jenkins was already at work, inspecting an engine block that lay on the workbench. He looked up as she walked in, his smile as bright as the morning light. "Ready for another day of magic?" "Absolutely," Lily replied, a grin spreading across her face. Today, they were meant to delve deeper into troubleshooting the limousine's engine. Yet, part of her couldn't shake a growing anxiousness, a feeling that today's challenge would push her even further than before. As they reviewed the blueprint of the engine, her excitement mingled with apprehension. "Now remember," Mr. Jenkins began, his brow furrowed in concentration, "the key to this job is understanding how every piece fits together. It's not just about fixing cars, it's about knowing how they operate." His words echoed in her mind. Could understanding the intricacies of the engine empower her further? Did she have the intellectual capability to engage with concepts far more complex than she'd faced in the past? As they began their task, Lily's hands moved diligently, loosening bolts and checking connections, but her mind raced faster. She struggled to keep her focus, the weight of self-doubt creeping back into her consciousness. Was she really cut out for this? "Lily," Mr. Jenkins said, noticing her hesitation. "What is going on in that head of yours?" "I'm just overwhelmed, I guess. I feel like I need to know everything right now," she confessed, clutching her tools tightly as if they were a lifeline. Mr. Jenkins nodded slowly. "Knowledge takes time. You won't absorb it all in one day. The process is not just in doing but in understanding. You're gaining skills, and with each challenge, you get a little closer. His reassurance helped, but just as quickly, a new voice emerged within her, a harbinger of doubt. What if she faltered? What if she couldn't keep up with the expectations, hers or Mr. Jenkins? The very thought sent a shiver through her. Determined to silence these thoughts, she dove back into her work, attempting to make sense of the wiring harness. As she twisted and turned, she felt a semblance of clarity beginning to form. Each circuit held secrets, stories of how power coursed through the system like veins carrying life to an intricate organism. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, pulling her attention away and cutting through her focus. She rushed to the door, finding a small boy sobbing next to a broken skateboard. Without thinking, she knelt beside him. "Hey, what happened?" "My skateboard. I can't fix it," he wailed. For a fleeting moment, Lily's own worries vanished. "Let me take a look," she said, the thrill of problem-solving igniting her spirit again. The boy watched intently, and with surprising clarity, she assessed the damage. A quick adjustment of a loose wheel and a few tightening screws, and just like that, it was good as new. "You did it!" the boy exclaimed, his tears transforming into joy. A wave of warmth washed over her, a realization surged within. Sometimes, all it took was an act of kindness and extension of her growing capabilities, and quite suddenly, everything felt right. Returning to the garage, the exhilaration of helping the boy lingered like an echo. Maybe she wasn't just learning mechanics, she was learning how to be resourceful, how to integrate empathy into her growing skill set. As she pressed on with the engine, a sense of renewed purpose propelled her forward. Yet, deep down, a question gnawed at her: was her path leading to something bigger than just vehicle restoration? With the last bolt tightened and the engine finally humming to life, she couldn't shake the feeling that her journey was far from over. The next step was drawn in shadows, a challenge that beckoned her into uncharted territory. But as she stood there, triumph coursing through her, she felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. Little did she know, the moment of truth was approaching, an opportunity that would force her to confront the depths of her ambitions and the integrity of her choices. The following day brought with it a crispness that highlighted the chaos of emotions swirling within Lily. As she stepped into the garage, the scent of oil and burnt rubber coiled around her like a warm embrace. Today, she hoped to build upon her recent victories, to push boundaries that still felt comfortably distant. Mr. Jenkins was already poring over sketches spread across the workbench, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Lily, today we're tackling the fuel system. It's complex but fascinating. Are you ready?" "Absolutely," she replied, her voice steady, but the tremor behind her heart betrayed her. The moment felt transformative. She was about to explore something that could expand her skills, yet a familiar doubt lingered. As they guided their attention to the new task, the terms fuel injection, pressure regulation, and atomization danced before her like arcane symbols. The jargon had always intimidated her, yet she had to confront the fear that clawed at her gut. Each concept was a stepping stone, an integral part of the larger picture. If only it were easier to see that picture clearly. Pulling out her notebook, she began jotting down notes, but her mind quickly drowned in the weight of information. What if she couldn't grasp this? What if she fell behind? Fueled by self-doubt, she felt the urge to retreat. It would be so easy, so safe. Mr. Jenkins must have sensed her drifting focus. "Lily," he said, his tone measured, "every expert was once a beginner. Embrace the discomfort, it means you're growing." His words hit hard. Growth wasn't meant to be comfortable, it was uncharted territory. Committing to this journey meant facing discomfort head-on. Her gut twisted with anxiety, but also with the spark of determination. Drawing a deep breath, she leaned back into the task. With each part they examined, she began to feel the threads intertwining in her mind, transforming abstract concepts into tangible ideas. The functionality of a fuel system wasn't just about theory, it was about real-world application. The realization electrified her, a sense of empowerment pushing out the darkness of doubt. But the challenge intensified as they encountered a stubborn line connector, an unyielding barrier between them and success. Lily felt the tension climbing within her. There was a player here, a doubt that whispered she wouldn't be able to fix it, that she might hold Mr. Jenkins back. "Let us tackle this together, shall we?" Mr. Jenkins suggested, pulling her from her spiral of apprehension. He guided her through the steps as they applied heat to loosen it. As she tightened her grip on the wrench, she felt her heartbeat soar. This was more than mechanics, this was a test of her resolve. The moment the connector popped free, a rush of exhilaration surged through her. She couldn't help but let out a laugh of triumph, her earlier doubts crashing down like a house of cards. "See? You're learning," Mr. Jenkins affirmed, his eyes sparkling with pride. With that, the atmosphere shifted. Transitioning from self-doubt to confidence felt liberating. Yet, as they worked towards completion, she couldn't ignore the undercurrent of uncertainty sparked by her earlier thoughts. Yes, she could learn mechanics, but was this what she truly wanted? Was a life dedicated to fixing machines enough? A new layer of clarity spread over her, and the workbench suddenly felt heavier with the weight of decisions looming on the horizon. Here she was, tirelessly honing her technical skills, but was there a larger calling waiting for her? This feeling consumed her as she set tools aside for the day. The engine hummed steadily, yet her heart raced with realization. Tomorrow, she would face not just the fuel system, but the complexity of her own aspirations. As she prepared to leave the garage, a distant rumble echoed beyond the open door, an unfamiliar vehicle approaching. It bore an aura of importance, one that silently promised to unveil a new chapter in her journey where ambition, identity, and choice would collide. Would she be ready to embrace whatever came her way? The next morning, the sun cast a golden hue over the garage, illuminating the oil stains that marked battlefields of past endeavors. With each step toward her station, Lily felt a surge of mixed anticipation and dread. She understood today's task could either propel her forward or leave her questioning her identity yet again. The unfamiliar vehicle from yesterday hadn't just been a coincidence. As she stepped inside the garage, her eyes were drawn to it gleaming, immaculate, a luxury far removed from her current life. At the center of her internal cyclone was a singular question: what did it mean? Before she could dwell too long on the implications, Mr. Jenkins strode in, his demeanor buoyant. "Lily. Big day ahead," he exclaimed, motioning to an array of tools laid out on the workbench. "Today, we're introducing you to the world of diagnostic tools. It's all about understanding the unseen, the error codes that tell the story of a vehicle's issues." Lily forced a smile, her heart thrumming in noise with uncertainty. Could she decipher those codes? She wanted to be an expert, yet the thought of failing again clawed at her. What if I can't figure them out? The doubt slipped from her lips before she could censor herself. Mr. Jenkins paused, a knowing look passing between them. Doubt is a part of the process. You can't map the territory without exploration. Remember, every error code you read brings you closer to insight. His eyes sparkled as if he had seen this struggle countless times before. Encouraged yet still hesitant, Lily reached for the device that felt foreign in her hands. The diagnostic scanner sat heavily, a promise of complexity and wisdom. She felt disoriented but also filled with resolve. Engaging the scanner, the device lit up, and each error code flashed across the screen like an encrypted message waiting to be solved. Lily focused intently, her mind working to piece together the fragmented information. With every code that appeared, layers of fear began to peel away, revealing a foundation of confidence beneath. She translated the numbers and symbols, piecing together a narrative that spoke of the vehicle's life and the checks it had endured. Yet even amidst this breakthrough, a far deeper unease gnawed at her self-assurance. She was unraveling the technicalities of machines but still felt disconnected from her true purpose. Was this insight all she needed to feel fulfilled? As they delved deeper, the atmosphere shifted. A growing tension swept through the cabin, an electric awareness of something unspoken filling the air between her and Mr. Jenkins. It struck her that this moment, while critical, wasn't just about skills, it was a discovery of what it meant to truly listen and understand. Perhaps it was here within this intricate dance of understanding where her true passion lay. Then, without warning, the ominous sound of a closing door echoed in the garage, shattering their focus. The unfamiliar vehicle was parked just outside, and it wasn't an idle witness anymore. A shadow fell across the threshold, the outline of a tall figure stepping into the light. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Who was this person and what did they want? The shift that had propelled her toward growth now threatened to drag her back into uncertainty. Whatever awaited her beyond this door demanded a response, one that could redefine her path entirely. Would she stand still and let life unfold, or would she seize the moment and take control? As the figure stepped closer, the fate of her aspirations began to balance on the edge of a knife. The moment of confrontation had arrived, and Lily had to decide, was she ready to embrace the unknown? Days turned into weeks, and Lily found herself fully engrossed in the world of car restoration. With each project completed, she swiftly transitioned from an apprentice to a critical member of the team under Vivian's mentorship. The 1965 Mustang taught her more than mere technical skills, it became a testament to her evolution. Her mornings began with anticipation as she dove into each task with renewed vigor. Studying engine intricacies and evaluating design choices no longer paralyzed her with fear, she savored the challenge. Mark's recognition of her value fueled her appetite to learn. One morning, as she meticulously painted the Mustang's exterior, the significance of her journey settled upon her heart. Once burdened by self-doubt, she now reveled in her identity. She was part of something larger than herself, bridging the gap between the past and its restoration. While perfecting the design details, she had a breakthrough moment. The project wasn't just about reviving an old car, it encapsulated stories buried beneath layers of rust and wear. As she poured her passion into every brushstroke, a revelation sparked: this was her calling. This was where she belonged. The influential leaders of the automotive industry took notice of the Mustang project, and as its transformation wrapped up, she was invited to showcase their work at an exclusive automotive exhibition. Her heart raced. This was an opportunity to be recognized not just as a talented young starter, but as an emerging professional and innovator. On the day of the exhibition, nerves pumped through her veins like gasoline. She stood next to the finished Mustang, every line gleaming under the spotlights. As attendees admired the vehicle, she began to share its story, confidently outlining the intricate details of the restoration process, her voice firm and passionate. For the first time, she felt wholly seen. The crowd's engagement ignited a fire within her, dispelling the whispers of doubt that once loomed overhead. She could see in their eyes the impact of her words, the product of hard work, countless lessons learned, and her unwavering commitment to the craft. Mark and Vivian watched proudly from afar, their expressions radiating encouragement. It struck Lily that she had not only achieved success, she had conquered her greatest hurdles: fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt. With each nod and smile from the audience, she solidified her position in this industry she had dreamed of being part of. As the day concluded, the praise flooded in. An industry publication approached her with an opportunity for an interview, highlighting the exceptional work on the Mustang and her journey. This was monumental. Lily had gone from a shy girl, overwhelmed by her aspirations, to a recognized voice in a sphere she hadn't dared to enter. She pursued the interview with authenticity, relaying her aspirations and experiences. Reflecting on her newfound clarity, she wouldn't simply be another mechanic, she would be an innovator bridging traditional craftsmanship with fresh perspectives. When Lily returned to the garage later that evening, she no longer felt the weight of doubt dragging her down. The air brimmed with excitement and possibility, and as she recounted her day, Mr. Jenkins and Vivian clapped, celebrating her achievement. You've proven that when you embrace your true self, you not only thrive but inspire others, Mr. Jenkins said, his eyes glistening with pride. That night, as she lay in bed, the realization dawned on her: she had conquered her fears while developing proficiencies that empowered her journey. Her achievement wasn't merely tangible, it was transformational. In her heart, she was solidified as a proud voice in the realm of restoration, one who had faced the shadows of her insecurities and emerged victorious. She was recognized for her competence, established on a path where ambition met action, not just as a mechanic but as an individual who dared to dream. The road was far from over, but her foundation was set. This was the beginning of a lifelong journey of learning, growth, and courage, where every challenge would only bring her closer to achieving her dreams. The time for her ascent had begun. In those moments, she felt a profound calling, an inner clarity that propelled her toward further aspirations, proving, at last, that kindness and persistence could indeed rewrite the narrative of her life. You need to subscribe now to witness more transformative journeys. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and make a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about Lily's monumental journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share.